Good morning, everyone. So today we come to a close of the SFG, the last test. I'm happy to see that a lot of you have survived the ordeal. Before we begin with the agenda for today, I just want to point out something which some students had mailed. Some students were a little concerned that, sir, when we come late for SFG test, the management does not allow us to write the test. So here, just I want to clarify this, that there are two sides. One is that the administration here wants you to have a certain punctuality and discipline. That is one factor. But here, I would also want you to have some empathy for the dedicated student who's coming every day at 7 o'clock, and you want to come at 7:20 when everybody is seated and you want to rush through and disturb everybody else. So do you see the inconvenience that others may be facing because you want to come at 7:30 at your convenience, because some of us may be very fast with the general studies paper. Of course, it's a test series, so the risks are very less compared to the actual examination, where our risk appetite will be much lower than what we have in a mock test, isn't it? So it's not just that the administration wants to inculcate some discipline and punctuality, it's also the fact that there are other people studying, and it would be grossly unjust to them if they are coming every day and in the middle of the paper, every 30 seconds or 10 seconds, somebody is coming in. So you also have to be empathetic to the other people, all right? Now, before I begin, how many days do we have left for the exam? 30? Good. So people have got it, the counting right, 37 days. All right. And this is the time where you'll have to do with 3-4 things. This is the time where you will have to deal with, first is anxiety and pressure. This is the time when you'll have to deal with a lot of anxiety and pressure. So therefore, mental resilience is very important in these days, and which you will have to take care of. You may probably have to actively take care of some of these things. Then the second is the amount of studies that you have to do. A lot of things that need to be read and revised. And third is, at least in Delhi and in North India, this is the part of the year where you'll be dealing with? You will be dealing with heat wave. No, you can beat heat waves. It's the sleep during the day that you probably cannot beat. Right? The paradox. You currently will have the rich man's problem. Right? Half of the rich man's problem, not the full. No sleep at night and very sleepy during the day. It's already happening. So people in North India and particularly in Delhi have a, 3-front battle to fight. Some people will say, sir, I can deal with the heat wave. How to deal with the sleep? Acha, this also you are likely to feel more sleepy in student life. I can assure you that. Once you are out of your student life, you won't feel as sleepy. Though there are some students who are now senior officers and says कि सर 2 बजे के बाद तो मुझे बेहोशी छा जाती है. मुझे पता है, मैं बाहर ऑर्डरली को कह देता हूँ कि सर बिजी है मीटिंग में, लेकिन 2 से 5 तो मैं बेहोश रहता हूँ, झूलता रहता हूँ अपने चेयर में. And what happens in some cadres, such as AGMAT cadre, you become a district magistrate very soon. Like 3 years, you become a district. So you become very senior compared to some states, like let's say West Bengal, you will be a district collector after 7-10 years, maybe around 7 to 10 years, right? So you are becoming very senior at a very young age. So you have to reflect that seniority, also extremely challenging, isn't it? All right. So before I begin, can you ask me some of your core concerns and questions and worries that you have right now? I'll take out your questions. Any questions that you have? Prioritization in revision. How to prioritize the revision? Wonderful. Anything else? SFG revisions, right, versus FLTs. Yes, very good. Please, yes, wonderful questions. How much marks we should get in the mocks? Yes. Anybody else? Last benchers? What you may be thinking is a small problem that is affecting me will actually be a problem affecting a lot of people. Yes.
What should be our daily schedule for prelims?
Till prelims. Yes. Any other questions? Stagnation in marks and lady. Yes, the lady. Hmm. Stop giving mock tests. Yes. Anything else? Current and static. Yes. Right. So you are having first world problems. Good. PYQ analysis.
Real time research strategy like deciding number of attempts and upload to the Facebook.
This will take a full session, so we'll have to do real time strategy. So this will take a separate session of it. So I probably will have to. Yes.
Believe some subject.
So it begins. Yes. Doubting every fact. All right. Anything else? Yes.
Which month we should cover current affairs?
Yes. Anybody else? This time the right is quiet. Yes. Smart guess. Yes. That is all. So we can begin. Anybody? Yes. Last question. Any last one or two questions that you may have? Don't be afraid of asking stupid questions. Right? What you think is a stupid question may be a big problem for someone, and mostly you may not sometimes benefit from the answer that has been given to your question, but others sometimes end up benefiting. I'm saying this because I meet students before the prelims and once they are reaching the interview and even after the interview. Right. So therefore I ask them what worked, and sometimes I get this, sir, this is what was said in one of the sessions. Now that was not in the original plan, but because somebody had asked this question, so I answered it. So you're helping me and you're helping others. Now don't get too selfish. All right. Anybody? Huh. How to remove sleepiness in morning? Whole day. One way to remove sleepiness is that you get your neighbor to sleep. So if people around you will sleep, you will feel alert ki dekho, I am at least eliminating one competition. So if you have a friend who's studying very hard, go and treat him to chole bhature once. Then you've taken care of him for the whole day. Right? Some people wake up sometimes next morning without worrying whether it is morning or evening. Then you can confuse them कि अभी सुबह नहीं अभी तो शाम है सो जाओ एक दिन और गया. So sometimes you can put others into sleep. That will also give you some energy that you are having a competitive advantage. You try it, it works. I have tried it. Yes. Maintaining some schedule like SFG. This will not be a huge problem, but yes. All right. So these are some good pertinent questions we have. You're logged in with me for the next 90 minutes, but most likely we are going to breach this timeline. So hold your horses. So before we begin all this, I want to tell you few core principles. I probably may have nothing new to share, but then I have to remind you of these things so that if at all you come in any moment of doubt, then you probably can recall them and you can probably stick to these core principles. All right, remember that you have been able to survive so far 37 days till the prelims and you're sitting in this classroom. It means that you have at least learned how to deal with disappointments. There must have been days where you'd have been disappointed with the score that you have gotten. There must be days where you'd be disappointed with your own performance, and there must be days where you'd feel that you have not studied hard enough. And yet, you turned up and you showed up every single day. So hats off to you for that. Remember that in this exam, from whatever experience that we have, I want to tell you one thing very clearly: disappointments and failures are a distraction. Disappointments and failures are a distraction if you are disappointed by yourself, and we will always disappoint ourselves. Though our biggest fear at this point will be disappointing our parents and those who love us, but you will disappoint yourself on a regular basis. What matters is that whether you show up or not. And you have shown up, and that is the attitude that you will have to inculcate, because that is how people clear this exam. All right, just around 2 years back, so we had a good student. So one of his classmates came and she asked a very pertinent question. He said, this person was my classmate and he has cleared the prelims. So basically even when he cleared, so he was enrolled in the next year's test series. तो मैंने कहा अब क्या करोगे? It is wasted. बोला सर छोटे भाई को दे दूंगा, वो भी प्रिपेयर कर रहा है. फिर छोटे भाई का भी खैर हो गया. So this girl asked, he said, was my classmate in my college, and while we all study the same things, what is the reason that some people clear and some people don't, and I have not been able to clear the prelims examination? All right. So now that was a very pertinent question, and some of you may have had that at some point. Today, basically, you better realize that the same book, all of us do not read equally. And in fact, different chapters, the same person does not read it equally. So you may say, sir, and different subjects, the same person may not read equally. So not only there is a difference between how each of us are executing our plans, there is a difference within us with respect to how we are executing plans with respect to subjects and chapters that we love and that we don't. And success is completely a function of doing things that you don't like. That is always the case. I mean, success will not come to you if you think that you don't like to do the housekeeping. Everybody wants a great bed to sleep in. Nobody wants to, clean the floor and clean the bed sheet and put the pillows every night. So, but everybody wants. So, if you want to have a great bed to sleep in, you'll probably have to make your bed. But that's the part that will never be shown. The success will always be seeing a very clean bed to sleep in. Right? Uske pehle jo housekeeping work is there that needs to be done, that will never be visible, that is never be celebrated. And anyway, success is always, publicly celebrated, and the hard work is to be done privately. And you are always rewarded in public for the hard work that you've been putting in private. I can tell you, I would be equally accused of it. See, all of you are sitting in this class, and there will be a lot of people, and you will become visible once you clear this examination. So suddenly what happens is you become visible. Otherwise, I had this student, so I was asking him a couple of questions. He cleared the exam in his last attempt, and you may have seen his video. So in the end, he said, "Sir, मैं सारे session में front row ही में रहता था. You may not recognize me now." Well, that may be true. That you start becoming visible, not just, though as mentors, I can say that your mentors will always know who is who. That I can tell you. We also have a very clear marking. We know which student is who. ऐसा रहता है to a great extent. But yes, to the world, you will become visible when you clear this examination. Before that, you will be anonymous, faceless. All right, after that, it becomes very responsible. Right? So she asked this, and I told her that what matters is the plan may be whatever, it could be an average plan, but what matters is execution. Not everybody, you read a book and not everybody will answer questions from the written text equally. I think that is one of the key realizations we wanted you to have when we did SFG. So by now, all of you at least do not have this doubt that what differentiates one person from another. You must have seen your peers read the same chapter and do better in SFG compared to you. And days where you have put a lot of effort, you have seen yourself do better than your peers. So that correlation is there. Remember, even if you have an average plan, but you have a brilliant execution, you will do well. But if you have a brilliant plan with poor execution, we don't land anywhere. All right, so that girl came, she was sitting here in the last year's session. So because she was a little scarred, as in when you do not clear prelims, it kind of scars you. It leaves a permanent some sort of mark. And I remember after clearing her first prelims, she sent a message, ki, "Sir, these are the register of errors that I have been maintaining. I hope that I'll be clearing. And because you are sometimes so afraid, you only fill up the form only for IFOS, ki karke dekhte hain." And that's a fairly good strategy. All right. Then before the mains examination, so she only filled up the form for the forest services examination. Before the mains examination, we had some interactions before the interview. So whenever she used to attend session, she used to make some notes, and she had it sticky. She shared the picture. And yesterday she called. So what happened is, during the interview, I told her, during her IFOS interview, I told her that you come for the ethics class. So what I felt was that she may have thought कि sir कह रहे हैं कि IFOS नहीं होगा. But that was not the point. I knew कि इसका under 10 या under 20 rank आ जाएगा. And that will be sorted. But she did not believe it, because once you fail for a very long time, you end up losing faith in yourself. All right, so yesterday she called and she said, "Ki sir, by the grace of Almighty and all the help and support that we had, I was able to have it for him. I've cleared the Indian Forest Service examination." Okay? So here I want to tell you something, that at this stage, what you will need the most for clearing this examination will be confidence. Now, what will happen is that confidence is a fleeting thing. Some days you will have confidence, and some days your confidence will collapse. Does this happen?
Yes, sir.
Some days, you study for 2 or 3 days, you have a lot of confidence in yourself, and then what happens is, then some people get into a celebratory mode. And that this is the best study phase of my life, after having studied for 2 or 3 days, and then after that it all goes down. 2 days you don't study, your confidence is gone. So confidence, then also sometimes you'll be writing a paper which has a disproportionate weightage of the subjects that you're good with. And what may happen is your confidence will be at the top, and then you meet art and culture. You meet medieval, right? So what happens is you feel like the unstoppable, and then you meet the immovable. No matter how much effort you're putting, it's not moving, right? Big challenge. All right, so our confidence will always be, you'll be going through highs and lows. And it will happen to you on a daily basis. For some of you, it may be happening on an hourly basis. Things could be so bad that right before, after writing the test, you're feeling good. Then you calculated your score, the feeling is still good. Then you got your rank list, and now things are bad. So what I would suggest and say, and I've said this before, is you will need, if you do not have confidence and it's wavering, what you need is faith in yourself. Bacha, this is the most crucial thing that you will need, especially if you have not have faced failure before. You will need faith in yourself before. That is what you need. Faith in yourself cannot waver. And this faith in yourself will come from the hard work that you have put, or the test you have written, the number of hours that you have spent, the number of revisions you have done. So you will need a lot of faith in yourself right now. I'm telling you, this exam cannot be cleared if you do not have faith in yourself. And I can tell you that if you have been very consistent, I have faith in my students. We'll not get a lot of students. We do not have 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 or 15,000 students. We don't have that number. But what we have is from this class itself, we will get under 100, we'll get at least 50 students, 30, 40 students is what we'll get from your SFG batch. At least in top 100, that number will be can go up to 50 at least. All right, that's not a great number. And what I believe is that the training that you have had here, that must have empowered you. I believe that you become a different person. It's not possible that you go through the rigorous program that we have. And every year there is a suggestion that, sir, why don't you lower that difficulty level and rigor, and then you will have more students. That's not what we are looking for. We don't want a crowd. And I told in the last session about a student from Hindi medium who was appearing for the interview. So he has gotten 110. He's a very big celebrity in Mukherjee Nagar with 1 million views. You've seen a young man selected with, on the top of a car with garlands, right? So when I asked him, he was also a little embarrassed about it. He said, "Haan sir, kuch zyada ho gaya tha." And he disclosed, sir, my result was, so he's the second rank holder from Hindi medium. So he has done every single, and he was always in top 50. That is what he disclosed when he came for the mock interview. All right, I was in the mock interview, not after selection, but before selection. He says, sir, I was always in the top 50 throughout. That is what I wanted to do because I was so afraid. And he has a 110. I've shared it also on maybe Facebook and other places, some places, because so therefore you will need to. So when I ask all these students, you will need to have faith, and you will have to work very hard. You will have to have worked very hard. All right. So please have faith in yourself. Please have faith in what you're doing. What you're doing is enough to clear this exam. इससे ज़्यादा लोगों ने नहीं किया है. Don't think that people have done more than this. I can tell you that people have done less than what you're doing and clear this examination. So mental strength is going to be extremely important. Mental strength is going to be extremely important. All right. So there is a very famous film which I always talk about at least every year. There is a very famous film, Sholay. Who's the most remarkable character from Sholay? You remember? Some people will say, Gabbar hi hai. ठीक है? Yes. And Gabbar Singh, what is his most famous dialogue? कितने आदमी थे? एक और डायलॉग है. क्या है? जो डर गया. So that is what. So I have two things to tell you. One is that you have not watched the film, you have only watched the shorts. Right. So we are seeing a generational change here. This is a shorts generation. है ना कि सर हम लोग रील देखते हैं. चलो अच्छी बात है. And second thing is you're not picking up the right lessons. He never said जो डर गया सो मर गया. There was a big difference. He said जो डर गया समझो मर गया. There's a big difference. $1 million lesson to be learned from that dialogue. So $1 million piece of advice he gave to you. He did not say जो डर गया सो मर गया. Because जो डर गया सो मर गया means that one who is afraid is dead. But when you say जो डर गया समझो मर गया, it means the one who is scared is dead for all practical purposes, or can be understood to be dead. But that does not mean that he is really dead. What a fantastic piece of advice he is left for the generations to come. Isn't it? So that is what I want to tell you to learn from that very single line, that you will be very afraid and your fear will only increase until the last week, and it will peak on the day of the exam, 1 hour before the exam, or worse, the night before the examination. So remember, this exam at some point of time will become a mental game. It will cease to be about the hard work that is to be done. After a point of work, the hard work will not take you places. After a point, the hard work will not take you places. It is the mental resilience. We talked about it in the last session also, that I want you to struggle mentally, because the battles of life will be fought and won here before they'll be fought in the battlefields. You will have to conquer the exam here. You will have to learn how to deal with the every day feeling that you are not doing enough, you will not make it, you will have to deal with those fears and you will have to adjust to those fears until you conquer those fears. And that is why that line becomes very important, is that if you are very afraid, if you are too afraid, then for all practical purposes, you are dead, you are useless. But the minute you cease being afraid, you are back. And that's the advice that is hidden in these lines. The minute you cease to be afraid, jo dar gaya, samjho mar gaya. So you could see that Mr. Gabbar had a whole empire because he would create fear. Because he knew that if people are afraid, then for all practical purposes, they are useless, they are dead. But if there are two men and another man with no limbs left, right? If they are not afraid, then they are credible enemies. So I want each one of you not to be afraid, not to fear anything. Have faith, and have faith in yourself, have faith in the efforts that you have put. And there should be effort adequacy. Effort adequacy has to be there. And again, I'm telling you, we are having this session not 20 days before the exam, we are having this 40 days before the exam, because even if you have not put the maximum effort, even if you have been suboptimal with your efforts, 40 days time is enough to turn the tables. These 40 days are enough to turn the tables. These 40 days are enough by doing CSAT for between 1 to 2 hours every day, even if you have not done CSAT before, or to the level at which others are prepared, or to your own satisfaction. If in the last 30 to 40 days, if you do CSAT for 1.5 or 2 hours, not exceeding 2 hours on any single day, and I would say not more than 1 hour, if you do it from right now, you will clear CSAT with flying colors, probably get 100 plus. In CSAT, if you do it. See, the last days become very important. I'm telling you, in the last 3 months, you have to study as much in the last 6 months. And in the last 1 month, you have to study as much as in the last, yes. In the last 1 month, you have to study as much as in the last 3 months. And in the last 1 week, you have to study as much as in the last 1 month. So computer science engineers will say, sir, it is recursion, if anybody understands that. And you Google recursion, what recursion means, and Google will reply, did you mean recursion? And it will take you to the same link again. All right, those of you, I'll not explain recursion here, but yes. So that is the effort that you will have to put. But this is the time where you will have to either stop counting hours, and those of you who have a compulsive habit of counting hours, this is the time where you'll have to set for at least 10, 12, 13 hours a day. Some people will clear the exam without sitting for those many hours a day. There are people who will be writing this exam. There are people who have only gotten 5 days to prepare for the prelims, and they have not been selected in the previous attempt. The result has come like 3 days also before the prelims, and they have only studied for 3 days and cleared the exam. But then that's their 3rd attempt or 4th attempt, and they've cleared the exam multiple times. There will be people who will tell you there's an easier way to do it. I'm telling you, a lot of times the pursuit of smart work is the biggest hindrance in the pursuit of hard work. Smart work is built on top of hard work. When you've done the hard work, you know how to do the smart work. When you've done the hard work. So what will happen is everybody will end up saying, I'm often afraid of, selected students who will say that, sir, it's about smart work. Because I know that the smart work is nothing but a hack that is used to make your task easier. Not that the person does not have the capacity to do the hard work. It's the hard work plus better output with hard work is simply smart work. So somebody who will tell you you have to do smart work, and then what happens is, why I'm afraid is because you have taught some people that you have to do smart work. Now what happens? The guy hasn't picked up smart work. Second, he's also not doing the hard work. Big problem there. All right. So remember that with respect to your concerns, with respect to your fears, your faith, see, we have, they are basically, if you say there are just like any building has pillars, so your foundational pillars will be made of these things, static books. All right. Then there is PYQs. Then there is mock test and practice. And then there is current affairs. These are the pillars of your foundation. And how do you make a great building or a high rise? This is how your building will be. Now take it as much, jitni building banani hai, jitni unchi building banani hai, bana lo. But you will need to repeat these columns. With these columns, what you will have to do, you will have to put another layer of revision. The more you revise, the better you will get. All right, the more you revise, the better you'll get. You want to improve your score, you do one more round of revision. And I think that when you have been studying here for some time now, you'd have already felt that with revision you score. Another thing is that please do not be, if there are students who are consistently scoring better than you, I would say that please do have a bit of humility and do genuinely, if you ask and you observe them, you try to learn a thing or two from them. There should not be any ego here. See, anyway, your life choices nearly will be guided by most of it by your peers, isn't it? By the people around you. I mean, even if you're sitting here today, it would not be because you had a mail, but you'd be sitting here because your peers are sitting here, right? You decided to come today on Friday to write the test or not, that would have been decided not just by your willpower, but by peer advice. Ki bagal wala ja raha hai ya nahi. And if he does not go, then you'll also be gone. Socho ke chodo, let us be last test hi to hai. Right? So peers will guide you. So learn from peers, observe what other people are doing who are scoring well, and try to see if there is any inadequacy from your side, then try to fulfill it. All right, of all sorts of poverty of effort should not be there. Any sort of poverty of effort should not be there. See, you are coming from a decent background. The previous generation did not have that luxury. Not because they did not do enough, but because India was much poorer. And therefore, if you see previous generation or the generation before that, the poverty would be much widespread, even in your family tree line. Whereas things are much better by the time it has come, and now the onus is on you, yes, to take the family line forward. Right? But here, of all sorts of poverties that you may have, there should not be any poverty of effort in the next. It should not have been there in the past few months, and it should not be there in the next 30, 40 days. And most of all, it should not be there during writing the test. I can tell you that 10 to 15% of difference happens if you put full energy while writing the test versus if you are having a very negative attitude towards writing a test or actual examination where you have any negative bias. If you are not putting your full effort or if not putting your full energy, then you will start seeing that you are not able, your 10% to 15% of score will rise or fall depending on how much energy you are putting. All right. Now, in the next 30, 35 days, a lot of you want that what should be our plan. See, at this stage, I will give you certain outlines. I will give you certain this. But at this stage, our expectation is that you should identify what are your gray areas. You should not be the kid who's studying what he likes and skipping what he doesn't like. You know, like an ostrich which puts his head inside the sand. All right. Or cats do that. They close the eyes and think that nobody can watch them. It is said. Right? So you have to identify where are your gray areas. You already have written enough number of tests. You know what are the areas where you have lack of revision, and you have to do that. And you should make a study plan for yourself. And I'm not going to say that, again, counting the numbers, you count the numbers if that is what number of hours that you want to do, it if it helps you psychologically. Apart from that, otherwise, what should be there that you study all day? And then take breaks for doing the necessary things, and maybe 30, 40 minutes for going out for a walk. And don't get a heat stroke, because it's difficult to go for a walk also in the coming days. So do go for a walk for your health. That is something that you will have to do. But make a plan for yourself. That is very important. If you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Everything has to be planned. Everything has to be written down, including the things that you're going to revise. So how do you make a plan? A very simple strategy I will tell you is that we have the exam on 16 number is very dominant today in everything. You decide what you will do in the last 1 week. What are the subjects that you decide to do in the last 1 week? So in this 1 week, you will have less logical subjects and more, at least in the last 3 days, you have more memory-based subjects and less logical. So for example, there is no advantage of studying economy in the last 2 days or 3 days, because economy questions are logical. They are conceptual. All right. On the other hand, if you don't study art and culture or ancient and medieval, like you can, I have seen students, they may not have studied economy at all. They must have gone through 5 chapters, and that also 1 month before the prelims, and they are doing fine. But if you decide to do art and culture, ancient, medieval, or even modern history, all of modern history and its associated sister and brother subjects, right? The whole family of subjects related to history. If you are doing it 1 month, before the prelims, then you are gone. You have to compulsorily do it here, so that even if 1 or 2 questions come from there, and if it is a factual question, you should not be confused. Remember, the paper is framed in a way such that somebody who has not revised and re-revised, he will not be able to answer the question. It will be, he will get a doubt. The whole paper is, see, the UPSC examination itself is the first examination where some people will fail in their lives. Some people may be, getting a 10 on 10 CGPA. They'll be brilliant. They'll be toppers all throughout their life. And then in prelims, they think everybody tells them that ये तो IAS बनेगा और rank 1 लाएगा. उसके बाद क्या होता है? UPSC में प्रारंभिक परीक्षा में fail कर जाते हैं. You see the amount of confidence that goes down suddenly. That will happen to most of us, isn't it? So therefore, you have to plan backwards. That is, you make the plan for what you'll be doing in last 1 week, what you'll be doing in last 2 weeks, and then that will leave you with what you have to do today. This strategy often works because then you realize कि अभी तो बहुत सारा पढ़ना है. If you make a plan from today, then what do you have left is, you have plenty of things left where? Here, which gives you stress. And stress at the wrong time. If your time is a resource, resources help us build things. Time, money, manpower, all these are resources, isn't it? Demography, it is a resource which everyone has to use. So therefore, now you see that you have no time. Whereas what happens is if you plan backwards, that is why I call this plan backwards. कि last day क्या पढ़ना है? It will take some time. दिमाग थोड़ा खराब होगा. It will put a certain undue stress, because what will happen is, till now you did not have to make any decisions. Forum had given you a plan. दिमाग नहीं लगाना था. कि दिया हुआ है plan को follow कर लो. Somebody has thought about you, isn't it? So therefore, you did not have to make any plans. Now what will happen is that you will have to make your own plan. So you'll have to apply your mind there. Then you will also need, some of you who have massive decision-making problems, what will happen is every day they will think that whether to follow the plan or not. It is an internally imposed plan. Forum is a externally imposed plan. So पता है कि बेइज्जती हो जाएगी, नाम छप जाएगा, रूममेट को पता चल जाएगा कि आज जो है ना 12 नंबर आए हैं. Right? That is the whole shaming and naming game. So therefore, that will at least propel you to, if nothing else, then at least that is propelling you to study. Here 0 number aaye hain. Because apart from this, I know that in Rajendra Nagar, lot of students are there who will tell their fake ranks. इनसे भी बचना. रोज आएंगे, any open test में, they will go to the market, they will take the paper from there and come walking in your room as if they have gone to the center and written the paper. है ना, वो पेपर मार्केट से खरीद कर लेकर आएंगे ओपन टेस्ट का. और बिल से कि you say how many you have attempted? He said I have attempted 92. So I am very confident 2 or 3 questions will be wrong. Right? And then you have been studying happily. You were afraid that you have missed the test. Okay? And he will be carrying the paper. So that is also the proof that he has come from the test center. और बाद में अगर चाय पिला दोगे, कॉपी रख देगा और गलती से छूट गई तो देखोगे कि फ्रेश कॉपी है, इसमें तो मार्किंग ही नहीं है. फिर बाद में, हाँ वो तो दूसरी कॉपी में मार्केट से लेकर आया हूँ एक बार फिर से अटेम्प्ट करने के लिए. राइट? सो इन बच्चों से बचना है ना. कुछ वैसे बच्चे इसी क्लास में हैं, उनसे भी बचो. और कुछ खुद ही हो तो खुद से बचो. Now in this plan, what has to be very integral? Again, I'm saying you because see, if the questions, the nature of questions that have been coming in this plan, you will have to have integral is at least these years is NCERT revision. I'm telling you, NCERT revision was not very important until now, until 1 or 2 years back, because you have to read it once. But now is the time where you do NCERT revision, 11th and 12th NCERT for subjects of history, especially history, art and culture, geography, all these subjects. Please do the revision. Also, please study some of the subjects that are common between prelims and mains so well that you don't need to study them after the prelims. I'm telling you, if you're studying modern history after the prelims, if you're studying modern history after the prelims for your GS paper 1, then anyway you are losing the game. All right, that has to be completely done. So therefore, NCERTs you finish and you will have to probably read it this year, depending on the kind of questions that are asked, because the commission is also, see, the commission has its own sixth sense of humor. And so what happens is if too many people will read a compilation, they will not ask question from there. They will destroy it. They have done it before. I've seen this happen to 2-3 places. They've done it multiple times before. So earlier there was a very good optional public administration. How many students? At least 3,000 to 4,000 students studying the single subject. People, कितने score आते थे? IAS बना है तो pub-ed लो, 350 तक का score used to come. Then what happened is too many people came in that optional subject. And in 2011, long back, so you will see कि सर बहुत antiquated, prehistoric बात कर रहे हैं. कुछ बच्चे सोच रहे हैं सर मेरा जन्म नहीं हुआ था उस समय. Right, overstretching imagination. So in 2011, people who had gotten 350 and were writing the exam again. तो इसको पेपर जो है ना स्कोर ऐसे आया कि पेपर 1 180, पेपर 2 something like 170, and next year what happened is UPSC awarded 18 marks out of the blue. So this was what is called, after that the subject did not recover as well. But yes, now you have, it is all restored. But for 4 years, nobody, the people who had taken the subject, they suffered a lot. No sunwai, no appeal as to why somebody who's getting 180, 170, why suddenly 18 marks, as in for a fully attempted paper, how can you give it? All right, so that terrible things have happened. So UPSC will ask atarangi question पूछ देंगे, कहेंगे कि लेकिन एक भी question they will make sure that is not from certain material or something, if they decide to do that. All right, so what is happening right now is, see, in SFG, PYQs have always been asked. All right, so question number 1, 11, 21, 31, if you are that keen, if you are a nerd, you will have noticed that question number 1, 11, 21, 31, 41, and 50 will be from PYQ. So PYQs was always add the people who were able to pick up. Now what is happening is, suddenly there is a lot of noise on the internet that you do PYQ. अब मुझे डर लग रहा है कि हाँ, कमीशन नोटिस करेगा, कहेगा अच्छा आजकल क्या चल रहा है मार्केट में, तो PYQ चल रहा है, तो अगले 3 साल कुछ भी पूछ देंगे लेकिन नहीं पूछेंगे, पेपर और टफ कर देंगे, रद्दी बना देंगे, लेकिन ये हो जाएगा, है ना. So the commission will notice it. They are very keen with that. They are also very fine grained. मतलब they have their own sadistic pleasure in doing something like this, कि चलो इस साल torture डबल कर देते हैं, है ना. They sometimes will set such a paper that they will make it so tricky that they will fall in the trick themselves. Right, so they will have to cancel the questions. Right. So you first, it's like digging the well for the student. कि students के लिए गड्ढा खोदो, फंसेंगे. उसके बाद जब की बनाने का टाइम आया तो खुद फंस गए. उसके बाद 1 साल बाद रिलीज करने का टाइम आया तो डरे रिलीज कर रहे हैं कि अब लिटिगेशन होगा. But the commission has said to the Supreme Court that we also derive our power from the Constitution. You also derive your power from the Constitution. तो हम बराबर के भाई हैं, सुनेंगे नहीं किसी का, है ना. All right. So therefore, NCERT revision has to be key to your plan. The second is, with respect to your planning stage, make sure that you take care of 2-3 things. One is that at least you have to solve, given the current competition. Again, I am saying this, these are best practices and guidelines. These are not strict rules. Forum does not recommend anything. What we say is, these are best practices which you can follow and benefit. You may completely have your plan, because now, when the game is on, all bets are off. There is no strategy except your strategy, which is the best strategy. Which is why one strategy definitely you should have is don't watch topper videos. ये नहीं करना है. Why I'm saying this is because you are that generation is gone. Now you are the next year's topper. You are CSE's 2024 topper. Some of you will be sitting in this class, all right, already with a certain rank, but he is afraid. And some toppers are sitting in this class. Future toppers of 2024 are sitting in this class. We'll get a lot of people from you. At least 30 will be sitting in this class. All right, you need to have your own strategy. Because if you listen to too many people, you become too many people. What you have to be is, you just have to be yourself, and not just be yourself, because sometimes that is a bad advice to give to people. Right? If you tell people that be yourself, then probably it may be the worst advice you can give to some people. And so don't be yourself, be a better version of yourself. Try to do what the best you can, try to realize your potential. Then one element is, don't watch too many toppers videos. You yourself are the topper of CSE 2024. मैं ही तुम्हारा इसी स्टेज पर इंटरव्यू ले रहा हूँ नेक्स्ट ईयर. ठीक है, तो इसलिए कह रहा हूँ, जो स्ट्रैटेजी आपकी है वही नेक्स्ट ईयर की स्ट्रैटेजी है. Every year strategy is different. What you have to do is, you have to see how you have been faring, how you are performing in the full length test, how you've been performing in the open test, and make your own strategy. And that strategy has to have some elements of hard work, very good elements of revision, very good elements of PYQs. Your strategy and study plan has to be doing PYQs. You have to do mocks every single day. You have to practice 50 questions. So you have enough number of questions. And if you do not want to practice new questions, you revise. Revision is extremely important at this stage. And with revision, revise your static. How many times? My expectation is that 3 times you should be revising your static. That should be done. And my expectation is that by now your static book should be colored. Is it colored? It should be near getting torn. फटने की हालत में कुछ लोगों का पहुंचा है. कितने अटेम्प्ट हो गए भाई? ठीक है, so your time will come. All right, static has to be revised at least 3 times. That is the expectation. If you are thinking of doing anything less than this, then again there will be a problem. Unless you have cleared the prelims exam before. All right, or depending on your level of comfort, you have to revise both your SFG L1 and L2. यहाँ से question आपको कुछ आ जाएंगे. SFG L1 and now don't say that sir it will take a lot of time. See, you are already have done something and now you are applying your mind for a second time. So therefore, this has to be done SFG level 1 and level 2, and you also revise your FLTs. This is what you have to revise. Apart from that, whatever is your current affairs. So now your timing should be something like, your timing should be between static and current. Static versus current. This timing has to be 70% static and 30% current. It can go lower than this for the current. But for static, it has to be 60-70%. Again, this is again a round figure. Now, somebody who has not done current at all and he doesn't do it, then there's a problem. Okay, so it will depend on your preparation. But if you have done everything, if you have revised everything, then broadly, if you have done everything once, then with respect to revision, 60% or to 70% you do your static and 30 to 40% you do your current. And how do you use mocks when you are tired? Okay, so 2-3 times you can use your mocks. Some people who have trouble, who have a lot of negative thoughts when they wake up in the morning because of previous baggage. Right? Baggages are difficult, isn't it? Especially in your 20s, you will have a lot of baggage problem. I know. So don't worry, it gets worse from here. Right? The baggage problem. So therefore, whenever if you have a lot of you have a trouble kick-starting the day, what you do is you wake up and solve or revise 50 questions. That is what you do. So that at least, see, you have to keep your minds active. You have to keep your minds active. I was interviewing this student. So she said something very good, which I have seen a lot of students implement is, sir, before the exam, before any exam, I try to solve something. So that is again more useful for the mains, but also for the prelims. Because what happens is, the minute you see a paper, especially in mains particularly, you suddenly have a writer's block. You have read everything, but पहला answer लिखने में time लगता है. You write something and then you cut it. ये भी होता है. Why? Because the mind is not working. And 1 hour after you have begun, your mind becomes active and it starts working. So that's something that you can do even before the prelims also, that you solve some questions, maybe some mathematics questions, something like that. So your mind is working because it takes time to kickstart. This principle you can apply on a day-to-day basis by beginning your day with problem solving. All right, that is what you can do. And you do this whenever you're feeling sleepy. You do this. What you do is, we have said this before, you compete with 2 or 3 friends. You tell them that, okay, chapter number this. If you are having any dearth of questions, you are not having, then please refer to the prelims toolkit. It has a very good compilation of questions, the prelims toolkit. So now you have PYQ separately and the practice questions separately. I have seen a lot of students, at least for few subjects, definitely you do. If you have any problems, because in environment, in geography and environment, some people will inherently be weak in geography and environment. It will remain your Achilles heel even after your selection. That will happen. So therefore, for subjects such as geography and environment, art and culture, ancient and medieval, it is very good idea to do it through them. You will have some ideas, some questions. And even if you get questions which are outside, you will be able to correlate from what you know and you will be able to answer your question. All right. So therefore, you have to revise all the 3. And this is why, otherwise, if you will say now, कि sir 3 बार आपने revision के लिए बोला है, but the point is that is why it ends up taking 10-12 hours of studies. If you don't do 3 times revision, then there is not much to study. If you just plan to do 1 revision, what will you do? You'll write a test, a half length or a full length test. 2 hours are done. After that, you will revise. अच्छा, multiple revision targets means if you have a 3 revision target, you will at least do 2, 2.5. Second is you will also be able to prioritize, which means that you will not, if you know that I have to come back and revise this again, you will skip the parts that you already know. Because some students, I often see this is, what I see is don't do too much of smart studies, but at least, you may not do smart studies, but at least don't do unsmart studies. Unsmart is something like, the entire 1857 revolt. उसमें कुछ है नहीं, क्वेश्चन आना है नहीं, उसमें 4 फैक्ट्स हैं जो बुक के पीछे समरी में दिया हुआ है कि इसमें भाई यहाँ पर ये फाइटर थे, उसके अलावा इकोनॉमिक ड्रेन किससे कहाँ लड़ाई हुई और इकोनॉमिक ड्रेन थ्योरी, उसके अलावा क्वेश्चन नहीं आना है. नाउ लाइक अ स्टूपिड किड, इवन आफ्टर सो मेनी अटेम्प्ट्स, व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, यू आर रीडिंग, बिगिनिंग योर मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री विद 1857. व्हाई? अ सोशियो रिलीजियस, पढ़ने में रुलाई छूट रही है. सो डोंट, जस्ट लाइक कंफर्ट फूड, डोंट हैव कंफर्ट रीड्स. कि क्या हुआ, मूड खराब है तो कुछ कंफर्टेबल पढ़ लिया, 1857 पढ़ लिया, लगा कि बहुत पढ़ाई कर ली है. और अनकंफर्टेबल है तो जाकर PSIR पढ़ लिया 2-3 चैप्टर. सो पेरेंट्स आर ऑल्सो कॉलिंग कि बेटा पढ़ाई हो रही है, यू आर सेइंग हाँ बहुत पढ़ रहा हूँ, 8-10 घंटे. क्या पढ़ रहे हो? तो PSIR के पेपर 2 रिवाइज कर रहा हूँ या पेपर 1 कर रहा हूँ. नो पॉइंट. डोंट हैव कंफर्ट रीड्स. डू व्हाट इज नीडेड फॉर द एग्जाम, isn't it? Do what is needed for the exam. All right, so yes, also when you go for the exam, please do not carry any baggage of past failure. See, those who are writing the exam again, and this year a lot of people, see, this year is a little on the competitive side, especially for the mains exam, because those who have gotten ranks every year, a lot of them would drop out, not write the next year prelims, because they did not have that much time to prepare for the prelims. And second is, they did not get the time to make that decision. So when you don't have time, what you do is you don't take a risk. Now this year what has happened is, you are aware that this year what has happened is, whole last year's list has been repeated to a great extent. If you see, this is the first time that so many students of previous year, they have simply ended up coming in the list. And there are so many students who have gotten it a second time, they have not even sometimes not improved their ranks. In top 10 you have 3 people. It does not happen like that every year. All right, so this year everybody is a repeat student of, large number of students are a repeat students of who have already appeared for the interview last year or who are already in the list last year. So now this year everybody is clear, and they have also gotten ample time to prepare for. I'm not scaring you, but this is something that, so what you have to do on this basis, that is what I'll tell you. And then what is worse, that the commission has reduced the time for the mains examination by 20 days. So this year, immediately after prelims, you have to be very clear that you have to start studying after 1 day's break, or maybe even that, not that one day. All right, you will have to get back. We will start with all the whatever classes you are going to have. It will resume within the week, so you have to come back. And some of you may say, sir, no, I will be very depressed. What if the prelims goes bad? I'm telling you, the way to clear this examination is, you don't see what you are scoring, you simply start preparing. You start preparing for your mains examination, because June to September is the time when you prepare for the mains. If you miss that window, you do it next year. But you can't prepare for mains after like December or October or November. You have to prepare, even if you feel that you are not going to write that mains, whatever is the case, you have to do it. And please do answer writing focus group hota hai. Kam se kam I have seen remarkable progress in students. So make sure that in the next 2 months you are sorted with your mains examination. So whatever forum is doing, you follow that. It will be taken care of. It will be taken care of in a conveyor belt model, which means that if you are on board and if you just stick to the plan, you don't jump out of the ship, you will reach somewhere. All right, just like if you have been following SFG, you have reached somewhere. Compare yourself to friends who are sleeping even right now. बेहोश पड़े हुए होंगे, है ना? तो अभी जाते समय उनके लिए गेट देम में छोले भटूरे. तो एक दिन, है ना, विनिंग अलोन इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, अदर्स मस्ट ऑल्सो लूज. है ना, भारत का विश्व में नाम ही नहीं होना चाहिए, पड़ोसी का थोड़ा बैटरी भी डाउन करनी चाहिए, है ना. हमको सिर्फ विश्व गुरु नहीं बनना है, हमको बगल को आतंकवादी देश भी घोषित करवा देना है. तब तक साउथ एशिया में पीस नहीं हो सकता, राइट? दैट इज ऑल्सो गुड स्ट्रैटेजी. सम पीपल हैव दैट प्रिंसिपल. अच्छा, एक चीज और है कि सम मिस्टेक्स दैट यू डोंट हैव टू मेक. गलतियां क्या नहीं करनी है. फर्स्ट मिस्टेक इज न्यू मटीरियल. कि सडनली योर फ्रेंड हैज सजेस्टेड टू यू कि एक नया मटेरियल मार्केट में आया जिससे 30 क्वेश्चंस आर गारंटीड. हम भी रिलीज करेंगे कुछ कुछ ऐसा पीडीएफ. ठीक है, मैं पहले बता देता हूँ. सो डोंट से कि सर इज टीचिंग समथिंग एंड सेइंग समथिंग. तो हम भी कुछ कुछ ऐसा करेंगे, ठीक है. लेकिन अभी बता देता हूँ, मतलब अगर प्रीलिम्स होना है तो जो कर रहे हो, व्हाट इफ यू प्रीलिम्स हैज टू बी क्लियर, देन व्हाट यू हैव डन, इफ यू कीप डूइंग दैट यू विल क्लियर द प्रीलिम्स. और नहीं होना है तो कुछ नया करने से नहीं होगा. मतलब ये नहीं कि कोई ऐसे मटेरियल अचानक से आ जाएगा जिससे यूपीएससी उठाकर सारे क्वेश्चन फ्रेम कर देगा, वो नहीं है. Right? So last minute, right now, what will happen is new material will come. And earlier there used to be PDF. Now it is attention economy. So you'll have YouTube. Some people will teach you your own notes. अभी अगर अपने नोट्स भी रिलीज कर दोगे ना, तो कोई यूट्यूबर मिल जाएगा जो कहेगा कि मैं, है ना, क्या नाम है आपका, अभिषेक, तो अभिषेक नोट्स में पढ़वा देता हूं अच्छे से तुमको, और फिर वीडियो बन जाएगा. और पता चले 2-3 हजार बच्चे भी उसको देख रहे होंगे, किसी को पता ही नहीं कि अभिषेक कौन है. देखो, अगर न्यूज़पेपर या कोई कंपाइलेशन ये सब अगर पढ़ नहीं सकते, पढ़ना मतलब रीडिंग द टेक्स्ट, गेटिंग इनटू योर हेड, एंड इफ यू कैन नॉट रीड इट, देन इफ आई विल डिक्टेट एवरीथिंग टू यू, देन आल्सो इट वोंट वर्क. अगर किसी चीज को पढ़ के समझ नहीं सकते हो तो ऐसे भी कलेक्टरी जॉब नहीं हो पाएगी और ऑल 3 स्टेजेस ऑफ एग्जाम निकल नहीं पाएगा. मीन्स इफ आई टेल यू दैट आई हैव प्रिपेयर्ड दिस मटेरियल, नाउ आई विल रीड एंड यू आल्सो रीड, तो फिर आगे वो दैट एग्जाम इज डिजाइन टू एलिमिनेट इट. वो किसी न किसी स्टेज पर you will be eliminated. So right now lot of flooding will happen, of lot of PDFs will come, this compilation, that compilation, master compilation, magic compilation, forum का भी रहेगा, ठीक है, वो सब रहेगा, ठीक है. New videos will come, lot of everybody will want your attention. All right, so it will, that desperation will be there. So please avoid any new material, no new advice. You take advice from your peers who are doing well. I don't have a problem with that. You take advice from your peers who are doing well, and you don't have to, you have to filter it also, some of it. But देखो कि वो क्या कर रहे हैं, and how they are doing it. And sometimes if it is your friend's friend, it is better, because it is very difficult to benefit from your own close friend. आज वो भी डाउन प्ले कर देगा, वो कहेगा कि you also know how I'm doing, है ना. So therefore it's sometimes difficult to benefit from that very friendly advice. So maybe somebody, you know, somebody who's writing and somebody who's your, है ना, or you meet mentors, you can meet Naresh sir upstairs, एक बार मिलो उनसे, एक बार पूछो कि sir this is my score. All right, so don't do this mistake. Then third is, don't pick up anything new, not study material. I'm taking any series. ठीक है, कुछ बच्चों को पता चला कि गेम ऑफ थ्रोन्स अच्छा सीरीज था, तो अभी 6 सीजन इस समय, दे विल बी फ्रेंड्स लाइक दैट जो तुम्हारे सामने भी नेटफ्लिक्स चला देंगे, और वो खुद चले जाएंगे और उनके लैपटॉप पर फ्री डेटा लेकर तुम देखते रह जाओगे, या क्राइम पेट्रोल चला देगा कोई, ठीक है. देन यू आर गॉन. पता चले कि उसके 2022 एपिसोड हैं, मेंस तक का समय निकल जाएगा. सो वन थिंग इज देयर, that make sure that you don't pick up any new habit, any new series, don't watch any new videos. If you need a break, ठीक है, watch a movie if at all you feel that you need a break because you need to de-stress, but don't pick up any series, don't pick up any Netflix. And also at this stage, mistake not to make is don't get into any household matters. Don't think that if something is going on in your house, you are any way capable of helping your parents. Even if you have an illusion that you can help your parents in any matter, you say that please, because sometimes see what happens is parents, there are different kinds. So 2-3 parents I remember who came to see me. So they were very they were very committed to their kids' success. So one kid was studying in, मतलब he was having her training in NPS, और father would come with her copy कि सर एक बार, because it is difficult, तो एक बार आप बात कर लीजिए, है ना, अभी बच्ची ट्रेनिंग कर रही है and she will get free, so आप बात कर लीजिए, हमेशा she would do that. ठीक है, I wanted to take his interview but then we did not get time. She was an Indian Economic Service earlier last year, then she got a Indian Police Service. So their parents like that. All right, sometimes parents may not have, and sometimes mothers may not have the wisdom. It may happen, it may not, and that will be a minority. But this is the time where you really have to be insulated from all the household affairs. मतलब इस समय चाचा मकान कब्जा कर रहे हैं तो करने दो तुम, फिर अभी जस्ट 16 जून तक nothing else can be your priority. It is, again, I'm saying that this is not a matter of choice. There will be family priorities, but is that please don't make this mistake that you, or even try to provide an emotional support to family members, that they want to dump something on you. A lot of things going on in the family. Challenges will be, see, you are in a stage right now where all you and your siblings will be studying. So there will be acute financial stress and other stress. See, it's not just financial stress, it's also the stress of the future. Ki kya hoga? That will be affecting the family. This will be sorted out in the next 5 years. After 5 years, everybody is settled and the family now does not have anything to worry about. This happens in the life of every family. Your family will be going through the phase where the kids are all studying and the future is all uncertain. After 5 years, they don't have any problems, and that is why parents will have problems. कि अब तो कोई problem नहीं है. वो phase आता है in every family's problem. And so therefore they will look very magnificent. Please don't to try and help out anybody in their household. 16 तारीख के पहले है ना, don't get into any household debates, don't get into any relative issues, nothing. You have to keep yourself away from it. Some parents, majority of the parents have the wisdom to insulate their children from it. Some parents sometimes don't have the wisdom, because sometimes they feel that this is, you should know these things. I think you will have to let go of everything and you have to just focus on one thing, and that is, you know. So therefore, don't get into household. Then next is, don't do anything that reduces your confidence. Confidence, you have to get into confidence building measures, not confidence reducing measures. Which means that you don't do things that reduce your confidence at all. Not meeting such people. ऐसा नहीं जैसे ही सुन ले कि पता चले कि वो आ रहे हैं, कोई फ्रेंड है बंसल, वो आ रहा है पेपर लेकर मार्केट से और बोलेगा मेरे 92 अटेम्प्ट हुए और 3 गलत हुए हैं, तो जैसे ही उसकी आवाज सुनो नीचे फोन आते हुए, वैसे ही कमरा बंद कर दो, और ऐसे बंद करो कि उसको लगे कि घर में कोई नहीं है. गुड, वेल प्लेड, स्ट्रैटेजी सीख गए हो. And please do not help anyone. There will be people, one wrong person in your group will take you down like anything. मतलब एक आदमी रायता करने के लिए काफी होता है. Everything will be going fine, and then what will happen is, see, it will not that he will derail you or one person can ruin your plan. What will happen is he'll take your day away from you. He will take away your day. And see, this is the time where you need mental peace. Again, this may be, see, why we don't want to do it online is not, this is relevant only to people staying here. These problems don't happen to people who are staying in the comfort of their homes. So this will be something which is an irrelevant piece of advice to those who are sitting at home. But here you will have to deal with a lot of things. You will meet some friends जिसका काम ही है, you speak to them for 15 minutes, your 2 hours will be gone. है ना, मतलब लगेगा कि मेरा 2 घंटा खराब हो गया. ऐसे हैं, आपको प्रशासन में भी ऐसे लोग मिल जाएंगे. 1-2 पदाधिकारी, when I was working as a Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellow, 1-2 स्टाफ नीचे का, वो आएगा ही चाय समोसा के साथ, और कैसे हैं सर पूछेगा पहला. उसके बाद इतनी लो IQ बातें करेगा कि मतलब तुम्हें लगेगा ना कि मैं कहाँ आ गया. ये प्रॉब्लम होगी आपको जिला प्रशासन में भी. The minute you will get friendly to somebody and you guys as an All India Services Officer also, 1-2 स्टाफ ऐसा मिल जाएगा जो कहते हैं कैसी है मैडम, उसके बाद आपका पूरा दिन खराब होगा. So, and he will not realize that he is having, कलेक्टर उससे डरता है. मतलब ऐसे हैं कुछ वहां पर, आप यहाँ पर भी आपको ऐसे कुछ दोस्त मिल जाएंगे. कई बार यही वाले वहां मिलते हैं. ठीक है. So therefore, what will happen is, please avoid anyone who is lowering your confidence. Don't meet people who are making a commentary on your performance. You don't need a validation from anyone. You are already having enough number of objective tests to assess where you stand. Don't need a comment. You also don't have roam around friends who are telling you तेरा तो हो जाएगा. He is more dangerous. है ना, there is a तेरा तो हो जाएगा gang. वो क्या करेगा, जैसे ही तुम मिलोगे, the whole group they are not studying, you are studying, and you will have a common friend. He will introduce you to those 4. तीनों कहेंगे कि तुम्हारा हो जाएगा. एकदम बचना है बच्चे उन चीजों से. I'm saying this because what happens is that these are psychological aspects of the preparation, and we did not understand these psychological aspects are so important. But today we have a better understanding, which is why we are saying this. नहीं तो अभी मैं 2-4 MCQ ही करा रहा होता. But that's not what will take you from here. That's not what will take you from here. Here, having the right mindset. See, if you see Nadal or Federer, you know, these are great sports persons of all times, of yet born humans, right? Now, if you see about their physical toughness, So don't think that they are physically any tougher than the rickshaw wala who is driving rickshaw, जो अभी 2 बजे दोपहर में है ना रिक्शा चला रहा है, उससे physically tough वो नहीं है. He is he will not get a heat stroke. He will not have a cooler. And in winter, he will have a sindhwan chaddar and he will survive physically. He is sorted. He will eat unhygienic food and he will not get a disease. Whereas if Nadal comes to India, he will have to make sure that he does not drink or eat anything. Otherwise, that is $1 billion loss to human civilization if something goes wrong. Right? That is there. So physical toughness के matter में this person may beat him. क्योंकि वो कर ही रहा है, वो कह रहा है कि भाई he is driving a rickshaw maybe 8 to 10 hours a day. That is the kind of exercise that he is doing. But then what will make this person? It is the mental resilience. Because that person, when if in a hall full of stadium, where there are hundreds and thousands of people watching him in front of the whole and camera, and you know that one mistake will completely jeopardize your own career. That is the stress that you have to live with. Then you'll become Nadal. So here, why this exam becomes, in this exam, why I focus so much on the mental aspects of, because the skill sets, जो होना है वो हो गया है, but now the mindset will take you from here. Winners don't just, winning is a fair combination of skill set and mindset. Winning is a fair combination of skill set and mindset. Mindset is equally important. What you think, you become. So therefore, please have good company. I'm telling you, the effect of company is drastic on students. जब भी मैं बच्चों से मिलता हूँ तो देखता हूँ कि अच्छा 3 friends are there, one came today, one came few days back, और तीनों last में list में हो जाते हैं, पूरा group select हो जाता है. Alright, so that makes a lot of difference. Because what will happen is the group values will be set by some nice person. है ना? What he's doing is one person is diligent, so therefore he's setting the values. And one person will set certain wrong values. कह रहे छोड़ो, chill करना है, आराम से, है ना? कब उठना है? जब नींद खुलेगी तब. No sense of urgency in preparation. है ना? So don't make this mistake. These are very important. New material, doing things, and then remember what I often say is another mistake is right now social media. ये नया है. Please avoid social media as much as you can. I'm not talking about civil services aspirants. You talk to NEET toppers, young bachchon se milo. So the generation, so you are of a certain, you have done your graduation. The people who are at +2 level, they are having new challenges. You'll see who's getting JEE, they will say, I completely did not do social media. So what every generation thinks is that the younger people are dumb, right? College may, if you've studied in engineering college, in every engineering college, the batch will think that हमारे senior बेवकूफ हैं और juniors गधे हैं और हमारा batch सबसे अच्छा है. होता है यही, क्यों seniors की placement नहीं हुई है तो वो they are useless, right? और जब फिर तुम senior बन जाते हो, right? So that thing will happen. But you see the younger generation, so you always think that the younger people are doing a lot of stupid things, but you'll really see that the younger people are actually much smarter. They are not able to top competitive examinations at +2 level or pre-college entrance tests. They are clearing by doing it much better than you. You see it sometime. अब ये नहीं कि वही देखने में 2 दिन लगा दिए, पूरा रील उसी का चल रहा है कि नीट टॉपर का देख रहे हैं. वो नहीं करना है. You know, what I often call is wealth of information. सारी जानकारी है. Is equal to poverty of attention. Problem what is happening is you have, है ना, किसी बच्चे ने notes बनाए हुए हैं टॉपर वीडियोस के, टॉपर एडवाइस के, पूछो कितने नोट्स हैं तो कह देगा सर 200 पन्ने की है. Now there is a problem. If you have plenty of information does not mean that you are doing quite well. Plenty, or what I often say is wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. Please avoid these things. These are the mistakes that you're going to make. If at all, what we have to do is, see, we are approaching the great filter for the final list. I've said this before, but I'll repeat it because nobody was listening. So what happens is, let us say this is the great filter, or this is called the CSE final list, final filter, which means if you cross this, then you are what is called a topper. I refrain using this word. I said I use the word candidates, successful candidates, but yeah. Now this final, this is the mains and this is the prelims filter. All right. So what will happen is everybody will race from here. Some will cross this filter. You know? So therefore some, and then few will cross this barrier. This is the prelims exam. We are currently here. I'm telling you that some people were eliminated here. Yahin par invisible filters are here. Some people breach this barrier and they are here. Some people are here. And now this is also a barrier that you have to breach. 30-40% of good candidates will be eliminated at this round just by doing some sort of stupidity. See, history is created by great persons, but history is also created by a lot of stupid acts. So, and there is no solution to stupidity. Even if you read history, you'll realize that n number of stupid things have been done by people, and humans have evolved as a reason of a lot of stupidities. Right? So therefore, don't do anything stupid right now in your preparation. If you're doing what you're doing, if you stick, hold your ground, hold your, whatever you are doing, you will clear this exam. All right, so don't make those mistakes. This is a great filter, and you will have to make sure that you are not filtered out any of the stages. All right, then coming to some of the things that you have asked, I'll briefly, very briefly, I'll say that prioritization is revision. So one thing you have to be very clear is that you make a backwards plan and not a forward. If you make too much of a forward plan, then what will happen is you'll make a plan for today, and then just 15 days later you will say, sir, I'm stuck, I have too many things left. You should feel that pressure right now and not in the end. Don't leave. So if you plan backwards, what happens is you're left with everything today. A better situation rather than you are left with everything in the end, isn't it? So therefore you have to make a plan like that. Prioritization in revision. The subjects, you have to know the logical subjects such as polity, subjects such as economy, subjects such as science and tech. You have to do it right now. Earlier, maybe in the last time, you may not be able to study those things. All right. SFG revision versus full days, these are false binary. It is not an either or question. You have enough time to go for your SFG revision. You can revise your test. You can go through it quickly. You have already written one test in 1 hour, and then you have read the solutions at least once. So now it should not take you more than 1 hour. And please don't read the things that you already know. Don't read the things that you already know. कि यहाँ भी basic structure का question सही क्या उसी को बार-बार पढ़ रहे हैं feel good के लिए. Don't do that. All right. Then marks in the mocks. Yes, here I want to make an important point, and it may demotivate some of you, but you have to be very realistic. My expectation is that how many of you in full length test are able to score above 70 marks? Raise your hands. अरे ये तो कुछ ज्यादा नंबर हो गया. Above 50 marks. Okay, it will be an increasing number. Now if I ask below 30, then people won't raise their hands. That is what I'm trying to figure out. All right. 30 marks and above. All of you, anybody who has scored 30 marks and above, raise your hands. 30 marks and above, I'm not saying below. Okay. See, one thing is the expectation is that you should be, ideally what my expectation is with full length test, what will happen, you should be scoring at least 50-60 marks, which means that you're in a range where you can work hard and you can turn the tables. But if any of you, whether you're doing SFG or whether you have been a forum student, if you're getting something in a full length test, if you're getting like 30-40 marks, then you will have to relook at a strategy. Then probably you will need more time. I will not lie to you. I will not give you a false sense of motivation. But if you're scoring anywhere in 30-40 marks or consistently and you're not able to breach, if you're getting something like that and breaching the 60-70 marks in few tests, then also there is something. But if you're not able to breach the 50 marks in a full length test, then you will have to give yourself more time. I'm saying this with the full conviction that my complete faith in this examination is that this examination is about hard work, and absolutely it is completely a function of the time that you're willing to give to this exam. It is not about genius. Some people will clear it in few days, some people will take more time. But then if you are the person who needs more time and is not willing to it, then what happens is I meet people in their last attempt. And when you ask them, what mistake did you make? He says, sir, for the first 3 or 4 years I just kept writing my attempts. And what will happen is you will get motivation that don't get motivated and keep working. But keep working does not mean that you write the exam, then you don't clear it, then you do nothing. for next 6 months or 1 year, then again you write the exam. Keep working means that in the face of failure, in the face of disappointment, what you're doing is you're sticking to what you decided to do. It does not mean not studying. So if you're getting anywhere like 30, 40 in full length test, then probably you will need more time. That cannot be more honest than this. And you have to accept this fact and you have to work it. If you are at all planning to clear this exam. If you are just thinking that I have to write and exhaust my attempts, then you can go ahead and write. But what I'll clearly say is, if you're getting in the range of 30, 14 across and never breaching the 60 marks barrier or 50 marks barrier, then you will probably need more time. Please give it more time, because I have seen students who used to get 20, 30 marks, then they've reached 50, 60, then they've cleared, and they have cleared very good, and they've cleared forest cutoff. And remember, everybody who you see in the in a topper video has failed prelims, including all the past rank ones of the last 5 years, barring one. All the rank ones. So therefore, it is not your fault. You may have to bear the brunt of your parents, but remember that this has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the nature of the examination. So it will require that kind of effort. And see, I want to say this to you, because see, I take a lot of interview with selected students. My team actually thinks that I do it for the marketing purpose, but that's not the purpose. I really want to know how they think. So I ask, and there are some students who will meticulously prepare for the exam, which means that they will follow the process very rigidly, and they will get a rank with a very predictability. Means you know that अच्छा इसका 10 या 20 rank आ जाएगा. Under 50, under 20 they will get. And I asked this to every rank holder, and for some reason I found it common. See, this piece of information is very vital, because sometimes what happens is, when we are not able to achieve an objective, now we think that there is a capability problem. But what sometimes may happen is that you have to start thinking if there is an effort inadequacy problem. If there is an effort inadequacy, so you have to see things like that. So therefore you say that I said, means that will require a very good self-assessment. He said, yes, in that matter I'm good. I am very honest with myself. All right. So therefore, you also have to make sure that, your marks in the marks work towards improving them. If you think that, okay, this is not happening, then how do you, if you have stagnated your marks, then what you do is you identify what areas. Every time you write a mock, make a list of topics from which you are not able to answer the question. And then from that topic, you read the whole chapter and promise yourself that if a question comes from that chapter, either you will be able to answer the question or nobody in the class will. That's a promise you'll have to make. If you make that promise, then I will make this promise that you'll clear the exam with flying colors. An increasing phenomenon that I'm seeing is, and this is completely because of social media and distraction. See, what is happening is now that students from the last, jab se marks aaya hai, I'm meeting the students. What is happening is there are too many students who have gotten 100+ marks. And suddenly I'm seeing that the number of students, so earlier what would happen is that gap would not be there. Now what is happening is, because of these distractions, there is a crowd which is getting very high marks, and then there's a crowd which did not exist like that, which is getting very low. I'm talking about the good student crowd. I'm not talking about somebody who's half-hearted. And what is happening is, 75 is the cutoff, people are there who are getting 50 marks, and large number of people are there. These are the people who left job and decided to prepare, and then now they're given 50 marks, which means that they have a lot of stake, which means that they are very serious about the examination, because they have so many things, and they are having friends who are writing this exam. So that gap, suddenly what would happen, everybody would be around the cutoff with 10 marks or 20 marks. अभी ऊपर सीढ़ी में गया, IFOS के कुछ बच्चे मिल गए, कितने नंबर, बोला कि सर क्लियर हो गया है 105 नंबर स्कोर कार्ड, अभी जो फॉरेस्ट के रिजल्ट के बाद स्कोर है, तो अभी 105 नंबर आए थे प्रीलिम्स में. So that is the gap, and this is only happening because some people are getting filtered because of social media. Social media will separate the substance from the chaff. So if you are one person, if you are so therefore, and daily schedule till the prelims. So I would not recommend now, I'll not come up with a schedule, bacha. The schedule has been such that you are studying all the time and making time out only for food, any other activity that you need to do, and for maybe a walk or a gym, whatever you do, that is for your health. That is all. So, but this is the time where your sitting hours will increase from at least 10, 11, 12 hours. That sitting will increase averagely. If you're the genius kind and if you have a photographic memory, you can do with less. But I'm talking about the average candidate. Yes. I would suggest that it is difficult. See, this humanities requires depth and understanding. It's not like maths that once you have understood it, then it's sorted. Humanities, the same line you will read at different times, it will mean different things. That is the reason why people fall in humanities trap. What will happen is that you read something in humanities, everybody will say, I know. Even Mahatma Gandhi is the father of the nation, it means different things to different people, and it means different things in different times. 10 years back, Mahatma Gandhi is the father of the nation. Today, probably, this will mean very differently. If you ask somebody to write an essay on this topic 10 years back, the essay will be very different. And today the essay will be very different. So different thing will mean, so in humanities, what will happen is, you will need depth. So this, I would say that in a day, don't do too much subject swapping. That you're changing, moving from one subject to another. All right, don't do too much subjects. You try to do one subjects and maximum 2 subjects and current affairs. That is all you have to do. And when you're tired, you're doing solving things. With respect to CSAT strategy, there is simply a time strategy to it. If you are sorted, you give it 1 hour. Otherwise, you give it 1.5 to 2 hours, and you have to do it every day. Every single day. जो sleepy time है उस समय 2-3 लोगों को, whatever social time you have kept for yourself, get your friends 2-3 लोग, है ना, 2 is company, 3 starts to become a crowd, not more than that. Then otherwise somebody will start cooking in the room. एक होता है ना हर ग्रुप में, अगर 3 से चौथा अगर बच्चा आ गया तो उसमें से एक जरूर कुक निकल जाएगा. वो कहेगा तुम लोग पढ़ाई करो, मैं चाय बनाता हूं. और अगर हाई लेवल का है तो कहेगा 5 लोग हो गए तो एक कहेगा मैं सब्जी चिकन लाने जाता हूं और एक प्याज काटने में लगेगा. एंड देन इट विल गो टू ना कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन. देन योर लाइफ विल आल्सो टेक ए वेरी कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन. Right? So therefore, CSAT में it's a good idea if you are sitting with 2 or 3 people, you have your social time 2 घंटे. एक रूम में अच्छा कंपटीशन भी हो जाता है कई बार. If you're sitting, सब लोग नीचे मैट बिछा कर या ऐसे फ्लोर पर या टेबल पर बैठ जाओ, जैसे भी है, whatever you want. 2 to 4 everybody goes to one person's room and then everybody is solving some paper and सीधे रेस करो कि चलो after 10 minutes उसे कितने हुए. That competition will do more than anything that I will be teaching here. And then you see how somebody has solved it. उसने कैसे किया. You benefit from it. All right? And don't be the smartest person in the group. मतलब टीचर नहीं बन जाना है उसमें. ऐसा होना चाहिए कि एक आध लोग उसमें भी थोड़े तेज रहें. ठीक है? Stagnation in marks is very simple. If you are having stagnation in marks, make a list of topics, identify chapters, study them, and that is how you will be solving it. All right? Then, when should you stop giving mock test? So mock test, please, 15 days before it, you will be making the last assessment. We will also be having the last simulator. After that, bacha, please solve only in a practice mode. Don't solve it always don't be in a self-assessment mode. Your assessment has to be fairly stopped, because after that assessment, and even right now, assessment does not matter. What you have to do is, are you covering and revising or not? So therefore, 15 days after that, I don't recommend you to, please don't, even if somebody is giving, forget free. Ab to kya hoga, somebody is paying you to write a mock test 1 week before the prelims, तो नहीं ट्रैप में फॉल करना है. वो ट्रैप है. अगर 1 वीक पहले कोई कहता है कि अनाउंसिंग फ्री मॉक, उसके नीचे लिखा है कि आने वाले को शरबत मिलेगी, उस चक्कर में नहीं पढ़ना है. ठीक है? So therefore, no, don't be in self-assessment, because if anything goes wrong on the last, see, responsible coaching institutions will not set a hard last paper. They should not. अब सब कुछ नहीं बोल देना चाहता हूँ, नहीं तो सब लाइटली ही ले लेंगे. ठीक है? But they should not. It's a stupid idea if you're setting a last कि everybody is crestfallen. हाँ, बीच में झटका जरूर मिलना चाहिए ताकि पढ़े. सेकंड में हमेशा होना चाहिए कि और कश्ती इधर से उधर हो जानी चाहिए, नहीं तो पढ़ेगा नहीं कोई. These are, see, the mocks are not supposed to really simulate UPSC, because the risk appetite itself is very different. Secondly, UPSC will ask questions from anywhere. Mock test should not ask questions from anywhere, because then you are misguiding the student. If I ask you too many random questions, then you will end up preparing random things. That should not be. You have to focus on the core. What is defined, and then on that basis you answer other questions. Otherwise, everything becomes a question, becomes a relevant question. That should not be the case. All right. Then time for mock test analysis. I see that what is happening these days is now there is a too much glorification of PYQ analysis, mock test analysis. देखो, ज्यादा एनालाइज नहीं करना. इफ एनीबडी थिंक्स स्टार्ट एनालाइजिंग, देन यू सीन द स्टैच्यूज ऑफ ग्रेट स्कॉलर्स सच एज सोक्रेटिस, अरिस्टोटल, सब ऐसे पकड़े रहेंगे. थिंकिंग थिंकिंग थिंकिंग, राइट? ऑल द स्टैच्यूज ऑफ ग्रेट फिलोसफर. यू हैव टू बी ए administrative officer. Don't end up becoming a philosopher. Too much self analysis also not much needed. देखो क्या क्या क्वेश्चन गलत हुए हैं, why you have made a mistake. You can also mark on your question paper that in this question I was 20% confident, इसमें I was 50% confident. What was your surety level? You mark in every question which you are taking a guess, educated guess. So you will say कि यार जिसमें 70% nearly sure था वो correct हुए या क्या हुआ, you will see a pattern and then you take accordingly. But yes, what I say is that you see is that in the last month you please keep seeing the PYQs, because your aptitude and elimination techniques should all stem from there. All right. So therefore, then balancing static versus current, I've already spoken about it. Dealing with saturation, yes, this is what will happen. So those of you who are fully saturated, those of you who have reached a certain stage in your preparation, what I suggest is that this is the time where you will have a lot of trouble making good use of time. So what I suggest is there is not much you can do about it. Here, those of you have a saturation, see, you all have one is what is called a primary source and there is a secondary source. And even for others also. Here, just have a very pinpoint. So for example, let us say you have studied art and culture or ancient medieval from some place. Now, your primary source may be something. There is a secondary source such as, for example, Tamil Nadu State Board. Usko padh lo. All right, so that which you have read less. Now, why I'm saying this is because, see, you have suppose you have studied something, the question will be framed in a manner so as that you doubt what is the correct answer. That is how the question is framed. Now, if you have the reinforcement from another source also, then your confidence in the paper increases. So therefore, if you have a secondary source or a tertiary source, this is only for people who have completely done their primary source well. You take a reading for a secondary source or a tertiary source. So for example, those of you who have studied art and culture from fine arts, और अगर समय है लूसेंट का एक बार है ना एंशिएंट एंड मेडिएवल देख लेंगे, आर्ट एंड कल्चर देख लेंगे. So again, see, this is again to reduce the monotony and boredom. So what will happen is the same content is there, but it is organized differently. तो थोड़ा neuron hit करेगा. Otherwise, what happens is you are reading the same thing. Now nothing is getting inside your. Have you reached this stage? So therefore, you read from new source. Again, I'm not saying you to add a new source. I'm saying is you are reading the same thing. And not from a coaching material. That is something I would not recommend. Not artificially curated material. You read from Lucent or any other book, and you may read it for pleasure reading because that will help you in the mains examination also. Okay? So you read your secondary, tertiary sources. PYQ analysis. You are already having some PYQ classes going on here. Jada analysis nahi karna. You see what questions, what is the kind of questions being asked, and what is the kind of elimination that you can do. That is all. Don't overdo PYQ analysis. You simply see which areas the questions are coming, and then you will develop an aptitude. If you just keep looking at the PYQs every day, आपको पढ़ते समय you will know कि अच्छा अभी यहाँ से question पूछा था, अब यहाँ से question पूछ लेंगे. All right. So therefore, this is what real-time strategy. If we meet again, we'll do it, or we'll do it in a webinar. How we could have one of the strategies. Then what is this? I'm not able to read my. Can we leave some subjects? Which subjects you want to leave? Medieval. So now if you're trying to leave a subject, देखो ऐसा है कि if you leaving subjects, I broadly understand that everybody's dream will be to leave art and culture, ancient medieval. यही होगा. तो जिसने भी छोड़ने का सोचा है वो चुपचाप क्या करो, लूसेंट पढ़ लो बच्चे. अगर easy low hanging question आ गया वहां से आंसर, I'm not recommending a new source, I'm telling you a very pinpointed source. कि अगर वहां से, या फिर ये शुभम सर ने बच्चों को नोट्स दिए होंगे बट कंसाइज उसको कर लो, बट उसको उतना ही कर लो. एंड इफ यू आर हैविंग कंप्लीट अपैथी दैट सर इवन इफ आई एम रीडिंग इट इज इट्स लाइक गोइंग लाइक पेरेंटल एडवाइस दैट यहाँ से सुनते हैं और यहाँ से निकल जाता है, इट्स है ना. सो इफ यू हैविंग दैट देन यू जस्ट स्क्रिबल इट डाउन. यू मेक 20 पेजेस नोट्स ऑफ आर्ट एंड कल्चर, बोलो उसी को पढ़ के जाएंगे. This is what you should do. That is the correct strategy. And I'm telling you, acha, one more thing. Don't bore yourself out of something, which means that now if I tell you to make 10, 15 pages notes, now some people, what they will do is they will think that I'll make the 15 pages notes in one day. Don't do that. Don't overestimate what can be done in one day, and don't underestimate what can be done in 1 week. You do that by sitting 3-4 hours, you will make a successful progress. Then don't try to do everything in the one day. You say, "ठीक है, कल फिर करेंगे." Don't see, some students, they self-sabotage themselves, which means they are able to study. Now they will study, they will stretch something, they will set such a high goal that they fail. And once you have that negative loop, you are gone. So you have to set up yourself for success every day. You have to set up yourself for success every day. ऐसी चीजें नहीं करेंगे जहां पर कि अच्छा today in 12 hours I'll finish art and culture. You have to assess yourself whether you can do that or not. Otherwise you give it 4 plus 4 plus 4 in 3 days. All right. Then with respect to doubting every text, that may happen because of solving too many papers. So one is that now when you go through a second or a third reading, you will have a much higher confidence, just like when you see the paper in the exam versus when you see it after coming back home, the doubts reduce and 1 year later लगता है कि पेपर तो ठीक ही था, right? और की आने के बाद तो सब शुरू हो जाते हैं वीडियो की, मतलब some people will start solving, after the key will come, some people will start solving the whole paper and they will end up getting 150 marks. और जब एक्चुअल में एग्जाम में देखोगे तो 50 नंबर टाइप से बैठे हुए हैं, ठीक है? सो एक्चुअल एग्जाम कंडीशंस आर वेरी डिफरेंट. So therefore you will doubt every fact that may have happened because now the test series has ended. You revise them, you will doubt less. You will see कि अच्छा ठीक है, इसमें भी एक pattern है, this is what is being done. And second is because you have made mistakes, you will learn new things. If you're getting all right, you will probably not learn, but if you made a mistake, you learn. Current affairs, till which month we have to do? What is the month right now? See, if my best piece of advice to you here is, if till the last day of the examination, if you can read the newspaper, one newspaper, leave the editorial, ठीक है? If it is taking you time, but keep reading the newspaper. एक दो question हमेशा जो है ना आ जाते हैं last month से. Not because that UPSC is setting the question from the newspaper, it's just because it is the way the exam is. All right. In fact, 2011-12 mains examination, what had happened is formula racing was happening in India. Something like that was happening. Or 13 में हुआ था. No, in 2011 something was happening, and in that days times of India, there were different color flags. Color flags were there. That what is the meaning of this? It was made in a table, and that day the mains examination, the question was what is the color meaning of different colored flags? It was either formula racing or it was Olympics. Something was happening. It was an Olympic year, yes. So what is the meaning of these colored flags? So therefore, what happens is, जो उस दिन, हालांकि it's very difficult that day. Who will read the newspaper? But it was in the morning's paper, and it was the question in the that day's paper, general studies के paper में. All right. So therefore, one habit is whatever you have done, you do it till the month of April. For the month of May, the paper is already more or less frozen. You don't have to study. But yes, please read the newspaper if you can. All right. That is something that will rescue you in the end. All right. Then with respect to how to make smart guess, आप पूछ रहे हो, I don't know how to make smart guess. What you can make is an educated guess. Already some PYQ classes being taken by Shoham sir, so he will tell you a couple of things like that. But apart from that, because of too much attention on those techniques, the commission has taken action. ठीक है? So now that is gone. इसलिए कहता हूँ बहुत आराम से, मतलब don't be, if you have discovered something, we follow this philosophy कि अगर लग रहा है कि something is working, don't go and announce it from the rooftop. चुपचाप काम करने का है, ठीक है? तो अब नजर लग गई है, पिछले साल के पेपर में यूपीएससी ने एकदम इंश्योर किया कि चलो इस तरह से फंसाते हैं. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज पॉसिबल एप्लीकेशन ऑफ एआई में भी गलत, और नहीं तो की हमारे हाथ में की गलत कर देंगे. They have all the ways and means to do it. So therefore, make educated guesses. Here, what I'd say is that if you're able to eliminate 2 options and then you're left with 2, don't just randomly, some people will advise you. So everybody has an opinion and their strategy. You are not bound by it. I also do not have a definite strategy for it. But what an approach, what I think is that you try to see if you have any further information, and on basis of some assumption, you eliminate, you take a call between the 2 last remaining. Don't be the kid who's simply marking it कि सर 2 eliminate हो गए थे तो मैंने तुक्का मार लिया. अगर ये करना है तो फिर अपनी तकदीर आजमाने के लिए you do it at home first. Where you are not knowing, you have eliminated 2 and then you toss करके मार्क कर रहे हो अगर, तो अपनी किस्मत पहले रूम पर देख लो कि क्या होता है, या मॉक टेस्ट में देख लो. Right? But don't do it there, because there I have not seen it. If that was so short, then it would become very easy, because 2 options a lot of people will be able to eliminate. But here, at least But yes, I'm not going to say that don't attempt any, but it should not be that if you are able to eliminate in 10 questions, you are left with 2 options, then you should attempt 4, 5, 6. I mean, I'm not saying this is a rule. What I'm saying is this is if you apply your mind, then you will be able to do this. उसके बाद ये बड़ी समस्या है, विकराल समस्या, स्लीपलीनेस इन द आफ्टरनून की बेहोशी छाती है कुछ बच्चों को. हाँ, हाउ मेनी पीपल आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम दिस? Some people are not, है ना. What you are doing? How are you dealing with this problem? Anybody? Doing CSAT.
Yoga.
Anybody else? Anybody else? How you are dealing with it? Yes. Very simple thing is that though the weather right now is that some people, if they decide to sleep for half an hour, they will sleep till 6 o'clock. That's a challenge. Then their roommates will tell you कि अगले दिन की सुबह हो गई है ना. ये सब challenges हैं. But yes, please see, I want to tell you here one thing is that you are not doing your corporate 10 to 5 or 10 to 6 jobs. All right, what you are doing is a lot of mental effort, so you will have mental fatigue apart from the regular drowsiness. 2, 3 inputs I will give you. Again, this is based on the students that have told me in the past 5, 6 years whom I've been meeting. One is that definitely if you can take a power nap, nothing beats it. And for that, you do not need a comfortable bed. You sleep in your chair or something, or if you have a couch, you sleep like that, but not in a sleeping position. Otherwise, you're gone. That day is gone. ये भी नहीं कि so you sleep in your library chair. ये नहीं कि library के नीचे वहाँ पर लेट कर सो गए कि सर वहाँ पर कारपेट फ्लोरिंग है मेरी लाइब्रेरी में. कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिसेज में ऐसा होता है, तो वहाँ सो गए. उसके बाद खर्राटे की आवाज से बगल वाले जगा रहे हैं. Don't do that also. Take a power nap, have a 20-minute timer. It should not exceed 20 to 30 minutes. Ideally, power nap is said to be of 20 minutes. All right, that is one thing. The second thing is to keep yourself fresh, you will have to eat something raw. Which I'm saying this because I'm meeting the students who are a lot smart these days. So some students will say, sir, in the daytime, I'm only having fruits. So therefore, I don't sleep. Ye bada important. Last week itself, so she was at the residential coaching. So in the library, in front of everyone, she said, sir, I used to have a very limited diet during the afternoon because neend bahut aati hai. So therefore, you have something light, you have fruits, whatever you can. You will have to learn to do that. That is a sacrifice. See, you will have to make some sacrifice. You'll have to do something like. Third is that some of you may be having a lot of tea and coffee. So here it depends on, again, because I met a student, so therefore interview के समय बच्चे अपना बताते हैं क्या क्या चल रहा है उनका. So that student had some allergy with milk and milk products. He was lactose intolerant or something, and that would make him very sleepy. So he said that, sir, my 2 attempts were wasted. He has gotten some 30, 32 rank, not this year, 2 years back. So he gotten some 30, 32 rank. He says that 2 attempts were wasted because I used to feel sleepy and then I used to go and have a cup of tea. And milk makes me sleepy. I did not know that. So again, after half an hour, I used to go, and the more milk I had, the more tea I had, the more sleepy I was. Or maybe it was the sugar in the tea that gives you a sugar surge, and then once it goes down, it will make you weak. It will make you sleepy. All right, so make sure that you have to figure it out for yourself, because everybody's body and this is different. All right, so therefore, yes, one more thing which you can do is, please, all of you, those of you, is that which I've seen some students do it. And see, these are hacks, these are very personalized. So it's not like a general guideline. Coaching cannot tell you that what you have to do. But yes, some students, for example, they say, sir, I used to take bath 2 or 3 times in a day just to keep myself awake. Yes, because and that's a good, you have a weather which is very hot, so you can take bath at around 1 or 2 o'clock. You can have a second bath around 4 o'clock. You'll smell good also in the library. Right? You can find those things. All right, so therefore make sure that, and do not have anything heavy. That is what you will have to make sure. But yes, you take bath 2 or 3 times in a day. That also some students have done. Sir, I feel very fresh. 3 hours I'm sorted. Then again I'll go and take a very quick bath. Then again 3-4 hours I'm very sorted. So that makes me very fresh. So people have done that, and please try to do that. Is par likho bhi kabhi, hai na? All right, then maintaining same schedule like SFG. This is very difficult to achieve. You will have some withdrawal symptoms right now. The big challenge is, earlier you had a external challenge, तो सुबह उठ गए, अब देखो कल से क्या खेल होता है शुरू. So that should not try to prevent this. Make sure that, see, one of the ways to study well is to study at odd hours. Because then you have some, again, I'm not saying if you're studying well between 10 to 5, 10 to 6, 10 to 8 is fair enough, but either wake up at 4 o'clock and study for 4 to 8 or 9 and then sleep, something like that, or you study for late night. But you'll have to study at odd hours will give you, because the world is calmer and there is no distraction. All right, during these times, don't be the person who's sitting in the room and picking up the courier and Zomato orders of your friends. ये भी नहीं करना है. In the last month, don't be the kid ki bhai, you have a flatmate who's always ordering from Zomato, and what is the lalach you are having? कि उसका Zomato order आएगा तो खोलूंगा तो मैं ही तो कुछ मिलेगा. वो सब नहीं करना है. Don't be the, see, you are into studies work. So what will happen is, if anybody interrupts you, you're studying very well, and then there's a knock at the door. Whether it is the cleaning person has come, whether it is the kooda person who has come, door knock हो गया मतलब गए काम से. उसके बाद you are studying modern history, and after there's a knock at the door and you address the door, you will forget what you are studying. पता चला आके फिर सोच रहे हो कि पढ़ना क्या था, जबकि अच्छा खासा पढ़ रहे थे. So if you are disturbed, then you are disturbed. It's gone. So you cannot get it back. So therefore, make sure that when you are studying, you are in, which is why libraries sometimes are good. So there will be some students who themselves will go to the library, or courier, Zomato, ये सब में number roommate का दे देंगे जो घर में रहता है, इससे संपर्क करें. Right? That should not be there, please. All right. And CSAT versus GS, there is no comparison between CSAT versus GS. If it is taking you more than 2 hours in CSAT, then probably it's a difficult thing. 2 hours, more than 2 hours is never needed, more than that is not needed. If you have, and apart from that, you should do 1 hour. Those who are very good, please solve just 5 questions, but it has to be done every day. Remember, in CSAT, daily efforts will beat 2 days of CSAT marathon. अच्छा, अभी ये भी आइडिया आ जाएगा कुछ लोगों को, यूट्यूब पे चल जाएगा CSAT मैराथन 2 दिन, सुबह से रात तक 5000 सवाल करने का, और भाई बच्चे 3-4 हजार बच्चे लाइव देख रहे होंगे. बाद में पता चलेगा फॉर्म ही नहीं भरा है उस ऑडियंस ने, और तुम उसको देखकर देख लोगे. ठीक है. So that is all. I'm not sure if we'll meet again before the prelims. We'll meet after the prelims. Few things I want to tell you here is that all of you, please follow the process. Please trust the process. After the prelims, we will be having, just like SFG will be having an answer writing group. We are not sure with respect to the timings, because 7 a.m. timing is not appropriate, because in the mains, see, in prelims, we want you to only study for prelims on GS subject, because CSAT does not take at all. But in mains, you have 2 or 3 additional subjects. One is essay, the other is ethics, which will require separate attention, and the third is your optional subjects. So therefore, people will study at night, which is why we cannot do it at 7 a.m. We don't want to run a program that somebody does not clear the exam because he was doing it. There are many such programs, there are many such courses that are here, that are available in the market, where if you do that, you are assured कि भैया ये गया काम से. Programs have to be designed for success, not for failure. All right, so therefore, what we are planning right now is that we may have answer writing focus group this time in the evening hours, maybe 8:15 or something, and maybe in the online mode. All right, because so that everybody is live and we practice writing answers in 7 minutes. That is what we'll be practicing. We have done this before, but we've done it on the board, that every 7 minutes there is a question. We did last year, but now we are thinking of moving it to the web based, so that everybody have a laptop open and they are seeing the question and they are writing it. That is what we are planning to do, because 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. is a good time where you should, it's the end of the day, and 1 hour of answer writing practice. And this is especially for those of you who may have a doubt after the prelims exam whether they are writing the mains or not. This is most important for those of you. Why I'm saying this is because if anything goes wrong, please make sure that June to September is the only time you have the mains preparation. You cannot change those timelines. I'm not demotivating, I'm being very blunt here. So ये चीज बहुत important, because then you will be able to improvise. And I have seen a very high improvement in people who are doing answer writing focus group, who are doing that, a massive improvement, because it will take care of your entire static. Just like my expectation is that SFG has taken care of your entire static, yes or no? Yes. So AWG will take care of your entire static, and MG will take care of that year exam oriented questions. But static में nothing will be left apart from answer writing focus group. तो कोशिश करिएगा उसको कर लेंगे. And all preparation this year will start immediately 1 week immediately within the, not after. अरे फिर गलत. So 1 week within the week of prelims being conducted. Second is this, you may not feel that I'm seeing this from a teacher's mentor's perspective, but again I'm saying is UPSC is continuously decreasing the time available between the prelims and the mains. So whatever preparation we have to do is we have to do now. All right. So wish you all the best. Work very, very hard. Remember, there is no substitute to hard work at all. You are nothing. Life is a numbers game. How your preparation is a number. What is the marks that you're getting? Similarly, how you're studying is a number. So therefore, every day, whether you are being productive or not, it is a number, and that number has to be derived from how many pages you've studied, how many tests you've written, how many questions you have done. Don't go by your feeling that sir पढ़ाई कैसी चल रही, बहुत अच्छी चल रही है, पढ़े कितने पन्ने हैं वो तो गिना नहीं, कितने टेस्ट लिखे वो तो गिना नहीं, कितने क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए वो तो गिना नहीं. If you don't have those numbers, then don't go by your feelings. All right, work very hard and seize the day. Thank you, class.